Snyder versus Cox. That's going to be going down Final X. Now, I just want to explain so you guys understand why we're here. And this is as big of a storyline as wrestling has right now. This is the storyline of 2023 if it was told correctly and people understood it. If you were to ask people what's the big storyline, they'd have something on Spencer Lee, and then you get some people coming, no, it's the return of Gable. Hey, listen, these are great things, but the biggest thing that we have going right now is Cox versus Snyder, and here's why. So I'm going to take for granted that you know the story and the history between Cox and Snyder. But my partner Ryan asked me, Chill, if this match is about to happen, how come it didn't happen last year? Okay. We're in world years, okay? We have the same tournament, which is the world. We find the best guy on the planet. We have it every single year, but every fourth year we call it the Olympics. And it's a little bit different process, but we find the best guy in the world through elimination. Every 4 years we call it the Olympics, but it's important that you know that because when you don't have the Olympics, then you have worlds. Real easy way for you to remember it, right? Same process every single summer. On the fourth year, we call it the games. All right. So world weights and Olympic weights are not the same thing. In wrestling, who's fighting so hard to get opportunity added to the Olympics, did have success with the world weights. This is a good thing. Now, if you medal at the World Championships the year before the Olympics, which is what we're in right now, you will go into Final X, which means you will bypass all domestic challenges and then they got to go fight each other. They've got to cannibalize the entire country till one guy's left standing, and that's then your opponent. So this guy's tired, or this guy's beat up, or this guy's worn down, or whatever theories you want to say, some of which will be true, but whatever you want to say. This guy, as long as he medaled, he's got to be a medalist. And there's a lot of theories as to how we got to the point that I just explained. That's a different conversation. Here we are. Did you guys get all that? Now, but you got to understand, Cox is an Olympic medalist. Bronze. Cox is a world champion. 3 times. If Cox goes out and does what is expected of him at world weight, which means he medals, he wins it. He brings honor to our country. He helps the team race. If he goes out and does that, but Snyder does the same thing, which isn't to overperform. It is just to go and do what he's expected to do. That's it. Win the championship, make the finals, medal for sure, help the team race and bring honor to the country. If they just do what they're supposed to do, Snyder, next year, an Olympic year, will get to sit out until the final wrestle off, but Cox, because he has to change weight, gets no credit. He's got to change weight. See, this is the whole thing. And quite frankly, some of you, that was really easy. But some of you, I lost you, and I realized that. I'm pretty good with words. It's a hard thing to explain. It really is kind of tough to explain. Cox could and was asked by USA Wrestling, hey, stay here. I know this is a problem down the road, and it's a potential problem, and it might pan out, but we need you. You're a leader. You're a champion. We need you. We need these points. And we want to win the Worlds in 2023, and you will help us. And Cox said, man, I can't do it. Your process, I can't do it. I've got to take the risk now in 2023. If I can get rid of Snyder now, he's a lot more manageable in 24. If I can get rid of him now, and then I can do what's expected, which is to get a medal, and I can sit out into Final X, which is exactly what he plans to do to the field, which would include me, it would be more manageable. And instead of putting my life on hold and looking for a dream and an aspiration down the road, I'm going to take care of it now. That is interesting. I mean, with big risk comes big reward. Ray Brenzer, excellent Greco-Roman wrestler. He stopped wrestling Greco-Roman, went after freestyle, and he told me why one time. It was very simple. He said, I could take a risk and make an Olympic team in Greco. He said, I could take a bigger risk, but I could win an Olympic championship in freestyle. It was just an interesting point that I've taken with me and I've always appreciated. And any of you aficionados, I think you have to correct me. And if Cox got a medal at 92 kilograms and he goes into the semifinals, I understand the whole process. Just feel I would get lost within the words to do that. Now, the reason I took the time to tell you the story, I didn't see this coming. Cox came and did this out of nowhere. And I know Cox has been on a vengeance. He has been on a rampage. And so many people that don't understand J'den Cox thought the air was taken out of that balloon when Rudis hosted what should have been the Olympic Wrestle-Off. When Rudis hosted that and they did the 2 matches and it went Snyder's way, so many people thought the air was taken out of the balloon and that Cox accepted this and would stay at 92 kilograms. He understands now. He understands nothing. He has accepted nothing. This is a tremendous risk. And the reason I like it so much is I predicted it quietly. I'm glad I was quiet because I was wrong. I predicted it quietly. Told my partner Ryan that Jordan Burroughs is going to do this to Dake and not tell anyone. Jordan Burroughs is going to show up on the day and he's going to show up at 74 kilograms and he's going to deal with this Dake issue now. For the same, and I was very strong on that. And Dake was going to do that to Burroughs. Bice had to do it. He had to do it. In 2019, he thought the games were going to be in 2020. He had to do it so he didn't have to go through the grinder, which he had done all these other years. He was learning from past mistakes. And you said, wrestling, he said, whoa, hey, we need you here. We need the gold medal here. And if you do this and you do get said medal, and that's where they came up with the semifinals and a way to work that out. And they got Kyle to say yes. But it still is a big difference. I mean, even if Kyle went through, you know, he had 2 very hard matches. He ended up, right, Wick and Nolf, they were pretty quick. He maybe made them not so hard. But that could have been a very different deal. Having to go through Wick and Nolf, I mean, if he had to do that now, it's a very different scenario. So I'm just sharing for you. I thought that Burroughs would do this. Now, wrestling has changed a little bit. You guys remember the great year of 2011 where Chael Sanderson's coming out to coach the team at the World Team Trials? So everybody sees him. It's no big deal. They even see him at weigh-ins. It's no big deal. Saw him at registration. It's no big deal. That's what you do. You're coaching guys. You got to get their card. You got to go to the scale and make sure they get on. And then all of a sudden he jumps on the scale himself, hands them a card. He was in the tournament. No one knew. That's how they found out. He told no one. And his team can keep a secret. They're the only guys in the world. But you remember when Chael did this, right? It's not like that anymore. Now you've got to pre-register. It's all done online. You have to pre-register. So when I tell you that I thought and I predicted the Burroughs would just show up and he was going to do this, and it was the last second I tell him it wouldn't quite be that same scenario. But yes, one day, even if it's a couple of weeks in advance, he is going to announce his intentions, and here's what they are. Or he's going to maintain that #1 spot, but he's going to enter the U.S. Open. And what a mess that would have been. Because then what do you do with that spot? How do we fit, right? It's just one of these interesting things. And all of a sudden the trials comes back in. I mean, it would get really interesting. And I predicted it. I ended up being wrong. But that concept and the reasons behind the concept, I was spot on. It's just being done in the form of J'den versus Kyle.